Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I want to share with you 10 quick tips to help you successfully work from home or work remote. But before we jump into that, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're looking forward to today's content. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. Regardless of if you've worked from home for months or years, or if this is your first job and your first remote job, I have 10 quick tips for you so that you can set yourself up for success in the remote world. First and foremost, create a dedicated workspace just for work in your home or wherever it is that you're working from. Try not to work from your bedroom or your kitchen, because those two places make it hard for your brain to distinguish the difference between home and work. Ideally, you'll be set up in a place with a door so that you can shut the door and be done with work for the day, or you can open the door and begin work for the day. But ideally, regardless of the size of space you have available to you, you will have a distinct space specifically for work. You will want to make sure that this distinct space will help your brain distinguish between when you're on for work and when you're off for home. Second, create boundaries. Give yourself the opportunity to be done for the day. Make sure that you have a relatively normal routine so that you can log on around the same time, but also log off around the same time. Try not to be the person who is checking their email consistently through the night and even responding to emails. You'll want to make sure that you give yourself boundaries so that you do not burn out. The third tip is to actually get dressed for your workday. It might feel easy and convenient to stay in your pajamas or to just dress in sweatpants all day, every day. However, when you actually go through the physical routine of getting dressed for work, that helps set your brain up for success and be prepared for the day. You do not need to get fully dressed up where you do your hair and your makeup and you wear high heels or dress shoes and you get all decked out for the day. However, going above and beyond just your regular pajamas and your sweatpants will help you feel productive, ready, clean, and prepared for the day. Like I mentioned with my first tip, when it comes to creating a space just for your work in your home or wherever it is that you're working from, my fourth tip recommends that you come up with a ritual to shut down from work. That will make it very easy for your brain to be okay with letting work stay at work and not let it filter into the everyday things that you do outside of work. When you have that shutdown routine, like turning off your computer and shutting the door to your office, that allows your brain to disconnect from work and focus on other things like dinner, your friends, your family, the things that you do outside of work. So come up with some sort of routine or ritual that will help your brain shut down from work and be ready for the other aspects of life. My fifth tip is to take breaks. When it comes to working from home, it's really easy to just sit at your computer all day, every day. However, this is not good for us physically or really even mentally or emotionally. So it's important that you build in breaks into your day. Now, this might be taking that 1 minute of stand that your smartwatch recommends that you do every hour, or it might be built-in 15-minute breaks throughout your day. You might even have a routine of every time it's time for you to take a break for lunch, that you get up and you take your dog for a walk around the block. So do what you can to build in breaks into your schedule. That will help you not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. My sixth tip is kind of similar to tip number 5 when it comes to taking breaks. Don't bring snacks into your workspace. When it comes to bringing snacks into your workspace, it makes it very easy for you to just be sedentary all day. However, if you have to get up from your workspace and walk to the kitchen to get a snack, that kind of builds in breaks and forces you to take breaks as needed. It's also really easy to consume more than you would intend when you're sitting down and eating at your desk and you're not really paying attention to how much you're consuming. You might go through an entire bag of chips when, if you had gotten up and gotten yourself a small serving of chips, you would then have that bag for the rest of the week. However, you might blow through it in a single sitting if you're eating at your desk. So do your best to try to take some breaks and get up, go to the kitchen, have a snack, and then come back to your space. Now, when it comes to being successful during your work day with the actual work that you're doing, I highly recommend taking a few minutes at the beginning of your day, or maybe even the end of the previous day, to plan your upcoming day. You'll want to make sure that you have a list of the things that you must get done that day. Those are things that Stephen Covey considers big rocks. Those are things that must be done. So it's important to know what those things are so that you can then filter through all of the other distracting, kind of non-important things that you have to get done. When it comes to managing your time well, you'll definitely need to have an idea of what those important things are so that you can prioritize those over some other emails or phone calls or distractions that might occur throughout the day. Now, kind of along those same lines, you'll want to use technology to your advantage. Use your calendar, use reminders, use your to-do lists. Some other things that you can do when it comes to using technology to your advantage is keeping your notifications turned on or off. Notifications can be very distracting. So if you are in a zone where you're working really well and you're being very productive and you don't need those interruptions, turning off your email notifications or those community building notifications can help you stay focused. You may also want to consider setting auto replies so that people know and can expect when you'll be available and online. That way they aren't surprised if they reach out to you at a certain time during the day and you respond, or they aren't surprised if you don't respond. If you set expectations using your auto responses, people will be happier with you because they'll know what to expect from you. If you're the kind of person who responds to emails late at night, but you're not necessarily expecting a response from people at that same time, you can actually use delay send so that emails will send at a more reasonable time during the day or the morning instead of 2 a.m. And that likely will reduce the stress of those that you work with, because when they're getting emails from people at that time of night, it's kind of sets a precedent that they should also be on at that same time. So if you are one of those people who has a hard time disconnecting and logging off at the end of the workday, and you tend to work during the night or at some odd hours, using the delay send feature could be to your advantage when it comes to working with others. You can also set priority for emails that you send. So things that are urgent or high importance, you can set that, or those that are not as important. And that will help others who receive your emails understand the priority when it comes to responding. Along those same lines, you can also tag people in emails to help them understand if they need to do something or take action. My 9th tip when it comes to working from home successfully comes to how you show up to meetings. A lot of our meetings are done through video conferencing platforms like Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, etc. Do your best to try to be fully focused in the meeting. When you are working remote, you will likely have the option to turn your video on. If you turn your video on, the chances of you multitasking goes down because other people can see you and can usually tell if you are paying attention or not. If you are turning your video off during those types of meetings, it's a lot easier and tempting to multitask. However, when you're multitasking in meetings, you might miss important information, and beyond that kind of glaring example, other people can usually tell when you're not paying attention. If you're not looking directly at your camera, or your face lights up or goes darker depending on you moving windows or bringing windows up, people can tell if you're doing other things. And that's not great when it comes to working remote, because if you were in person for a meeting, you likely wouldn't be doing other things in your meeting as well. Sometimes that's a cultural thing when it comes to the organization, but try your best to set a good example for the other people that you're working with and be fully present in the meetings that you're attending. And finally, when it comes to working remote and being successful while you're working remote, building a community is important. So take advantage of the different community building programs that your organization has available to you. These might be programs like Microsoft Teams or Slack. These types of programs help you communicate and connect with the people that you're working with. Being completely isolated when you're working from home physically is difficult, but it's even more difficult when you don't have a community in the organization that you're working with. If you don't have those work friends that you can rely on and that you can enjoy spending time with, take an opportunity to connect with the people through programs like that. Maybe even branch out and have a virtual lunch where everyone logs into a video chat and you have lunch together and you learn more about each other. Managers likely have team building opportunities for remote teams so that their teams can get to know each other and connect. However, if your organization doesn't offer something like this or your manager doesn't offer something like this, you can start something on your own using one of those platforms that I've mentioned before. So when it comes to working remote, there are a lot of different things that you can do that can help you be successful or that can hinder your success. If you follow these 10 tips, I do think that you will be setting yourself up for success in the remote world. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, just remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please put them in the comments box below. I'd like to hear any other tips that you might have for how you have successfully worked remote, or questions that you have about working remote. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.